And then the third word he said to them, he said, because now you are about to possess the land. Here's something else you need to understand. That the possession of the land, it is a tough thing to do. As soon as they crossed the Jordan River, they had to fight. And the idea is that if you are ever going to possess your land, you have to fight for it. Now think about this. They had already been given the land by God. They have been given the land. There are many things that you have already been given. You have already been given the citizenship of the greatest nation on earth right here. You already have been given things by your family. You already have a great future ahead of you, but you must go possess it yourself. And that means you have to fight for it. You need to understand that anything worthwhile that you're going to have in this life, you have to fight for it. And I don't necessarily mean your fist. I mean you have to struggle. You have to work. You have to make it happen. Whether it's relationships, if you ever want to have a good relationship, whether it's friend, whether it's with your parents or grandparents, you have to work toward that. It's not easy. It's not easy all the time. If you ever want to have a successful marriage, it's something you have to work for. And you have to work on it all the time. If you ever want to have a successful business, you have to work for it. If you want to be an employer or an employee and be successful, you have to possess that. You have to work for it. You have to make it happen. You have to be proactive in life. Many people are just reactive. They just react to whatever life throws at them. But you have to be proactive. Prepare yourself. I want to give you a couple examples. In school, I never had any trouble with school. In fact, one of my biggest regrets, I could have been a straight A student, but A's and B's were okay with me. It was okay with my parents, so I did A's and B's. But I went to college, and I took as a freshman Greek. I had never taken a foreign language before, had no idea, but I thought I wanted to learn Greek. So I signed up for Greek, went to the class, and lesson 1 was, before tomorrow, learn the Greek alphabet. That was lesson 1. Okay, I went back the second day. I knew alpha, beta, gamma. That's about as far as I got. He gave us a test on the alphabet. I had my first big F, maybe the first F I had ever made before in a school situation. I was not too happy. The second day was even worse. We passed on. The third day was worse. By the fourth day, I knew I was in serious trouble. So I did what all smart freshmen do when they get a course they can't handle. I dropped the course. I was not prepared. I wasn't even close to being prepared. I dropped the course. I did it in time to get another course, and I got through the semester okay, but they did not offer that again until the next year. But here's what I did. I took that book that I had bought, and I kept it. And the next summer, every day in the next summer, I went over the alphabet, the Greek alphabet. I went over the first 25 lessons of that. I learned over 100 words, vocabulary of Greek. I was proactive. And when I walked into that classroom the next year, and lesson 1 was learn the alphabet, I already knew it. I already knew lesson 2, and I just cruised through that. I've taken 2 years of Greek. And I don't speak it much better than I do English. And I have trouble with English. But the point I want to make is I made an A in that class. Why? Because I was proactive. I looked and saw what was coming up. Many people go through their life just reactive. Do you realize how little trouble you would have in school if you actually read ahead, read the chapters ahead, did the work before, had somebody help you before you even go into Algebra 1 or before you even go into English or whatever it may be, to be proactive. And the same is true whatever you're looking to do, folks. I have been talking to people, maybe y'all have heard, I'll give you my second example. I have been looking at cryptocurrency, if y'all have ever heard of that. You ever heard of Bitcoin? Ethereum? I don't own any, but I'm thinking about it. I have a son-in-law that says that's what you need to do. You need to put some money in there, put some of your money there. So, what am I doing? The last 2 weeks, I probably looked at over 20 hours on YouTube about cryptocurrencies. I still don't know a lot about it, but I know more than I knew 2 weeks ago. Mr. Nettles deals in cryptocurrency. Many of the young people, y'all know more about that than us older folks. But what I'm telling you this for is that I am being proactive. And if I get into cryptocurrency, it probably will not be till January, February of next year. But before I do, and when I do, I will have a pretty good idea of what I'm getting into, what the volatility may be, and everything about it. That's how you need to attack life. Be proactive. If you are ever going to possess what God already has for you, you have to possess it yourself. You have so many advantages just from being in this country. I don't care how bad you think you have it. There are people around the world that would trade places with you in a second. But you have to be proactive about things. And you have to be willing to possess the land. And I'm not talking about the name it and claim it crowd. I'm talking about people that will actually stand up, as the Bible says, I searched for a man among them who would stand in the gap. In other words, somebody that would stand up. Do you realize that when a little kid that was 17 years old by the name of David stood up and fought the world champion whose name was Goliath? Maybe you've heard of that story. But after he killed Goliath, he was made wealthy. He was given one of the king's daughters to marry, which means basically he was adopted into the family, into the royal family. His whole family was exempted of taxes for the rest of their life. But every one of them, every person in that army was promised the same thing. If you will stand up and fight Goliath. And not one of them stood up to possess the land. You cannot possess the land unless you are willing to stand up and possess the land. He is the only one that reaped the rewards. The promise was there for all of them. Only one was willing to fight. If you ever go through the Bible and look at miracles, you might be surprised that there are miracles where Jesus fed people and that sort of thing. But most of the miracles in the Bible have to do with people fighting. They have to do with God helping people possess the land. And in all probability, if you can ever really look back at your life and think, yeah, God really helped me right here. I couldn't have done this without God. You'll probably be thinking about possessing the land. The times that you stood up with courage and actually went to possess what God has already given you.